Smith, next Sunday's Sky Sport 1. What makes the Australian PGA Championship different? The unknown. Discover where Australasia's best golfers unearth themselves to the world. The Cracker. The Australian PGA Championship, Thursday, Sky Sport 2.
They missed each other.
That almost hit me!
This time, their aim is better.
Are you wearing bunny slippers?
The whole 10 yards, coming in December to Sky Movies.
It's the biggest day of rugby internationals in 2005.
He's there again!
4 live test matches back-to-back featuring the world's top 5 teams, including Scotland versus New Zealand in widescreen.
Beautiful try!
And the masters of natural flair take on England and Italy.
What a run from the second row! Can he go all the way?
The biggest day of rugby internationals. Sunday on the Rugby Channel. To subscribe, call 0800 759 759.
$16-0, the Kiwis lead the Kangaroos at half-time in the Tri-Nations final from Elland Road and lead Stephen McCarthy, Pia Ropari. A little bit of excitement, it would be fair to say, in the studio, knowing what might unfold. We won't touch talking about a series win, because that was a long time ago. It was 52 years since we've beaten them in a series, and you'd like to think that maybe today is the day.
And again, we talked about pre-match about the challenge for the coaching staff to get a side at a level to be mentally prepared to go to war and to be able to meet the challenge about Australia's what they were going to offer. It's now so important also that they come up with a half-time talk that keeps them in the game, knowing that, hey, we've got this lead, we're playing exceptionally well. How do we stay on top of it? For the likes of Wayne Bennett, he's going to reinforce at the moment where they sit on the scoreboard is because of what they have committed to themselves. Their completion rate is poor, their possession is poor, so they need to get back in. They need to build some pressure. A lot of mention has been made of Tate coming out on the wing there. He needs to look at where Gasnier is.
He's
and he needs to still, well, maybe he's been blinded by the glare of the golden one, but he's got to stay with Gasnier defensively. If Gasnier goes, he's got to go. The big, I guess, upside for New Zealand at the moment, everything is sticking. The passes are there, the second phase play is outstanding, and you've got 2 of the biggest exponents of that second phase play yet to be brought into the game, in the likes of Ali Lautiti and David Solomona. So at the moment they're feeling good. They're good. You're entitled to be confident, but you know there's something coming in the second half.
I'll say the battle of the pack, though, Peter, certainly favours. Despite possession, the battle of the pack is firmly in the Kiwis' favour. I've been unimpressed by a number of those big-name forwards on the Kangaroos.
Unimpressed, but look at the contribution of some of the black and whites. I think Roy Asatasi coming on has been outstanding. Paul Rauhi's done some good. Ruben has continued in his good form that he's shown throughout the whole tournament. Australia knows, unlike what they tried to show in the opening 15 minutes, which was about using the ball, looking to shift it, looking to go wide, doing stuff that you don't normally expect. They'll go back to doing the simple plays, getting some go forward, getting some momentum in the middle of the football field. Then you might start to see them use what they've got in their three-quarter line, the likes of Gasnier and Cooper, because they have got some speed. Minicello is yet to be able to play football as well. They've been denied a lot of opportunities, the Kiwis in control.
All right, well, you talk about the numbers, Pen. You talk about those packs doing the numbers. Ruben Wiki, 95. Paul Rauhi, 75 metres. Petro, 7 Petrol, 7 cents a litre, not doing the job. 19 metres. And Riles, 42 metres.
Yeah, and that comes...
Again, it comes on that.
Yeah, no surprise. You know, 39% of the ball, you're not going to run with the ball. And we've just mentioned that, Mr. Matt, but we'll say it again. Yes, we've yet to see the likes of Ali Lautiti and Dave Solomona.
It's a bit early for our director this morning.
Yeah, no.
Oh, poor Matt. He's just a wee fella. He's get him out of bed.
Better explain it, otherwise people will think I've just gone random.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Poor Matty needs his warm cup of milk and he's fine. Just a reminder about the international awards that were given out over the past week. And Anthony Minicello, and that is, again, no surprise, the Golden Boot recipient this year. Newcomer of the year, Manu Vatabai, Anthony Minicello picking up the back. Stuart Fielden, the forward of the year.
I was pleased to see that one. I've been impressed with his performances right throughout, and it'd be great to see players like, yeah, you've got the likes of Adrian Morley. We've got Carney coming down in a couple of years, or next year with
next
Newcastle.
year he's going to play you with Newcastle.
Yeah. The likes of Stuart Fielden, the modern day prop forward. He's mobile, he's quick, he likes to play 80 minutes of football. I'd like to see him down here.
And of course, Ruben Wiki receiving a special award for his contribution, and of course of becoming the leading test cap wearer with 50 caps in this one. 16-0. There's a whole lot more coming. Stick with us. No, we're not going to stick with this, are we? Which is good. We've had our break. I was getting all excited about that. It is very early in the morning. All right, well, let us just continue to move on, shall we, and think about the performance of Stacey Jones in the first half. His in-game kicking game has been a very special one indeed, and it belies the fact that he's been flying all for the last 2 days.
Yeah, we can talk about the kicking game. The kicking game is often the end result of a play. What's been so, I guess, pleasing about Stacey's whole game is the way he's read the game. He's obviously seeing what's unfolding in front of him, putting it and finding the kick at the end of it. He's contributed well, and you can only imagine that if Stacey wasn't on board, who would have stepped up to be able... Despite the fact that everything is gelling at the moment, everything is working, would someone have picked up? But right now, it's good to see that Stacey's there because he's contributing big.
And Peter, there was a perfect example of that when he slipped over, still got the kick away, and sometimes there is criticisms of Stacey's total game. But again, in the big occasions, he will stand up.
And yeah, there's an old cliche, and we often say just because it's a cliche doesn't mean it's true. But in the big games, the big boys come to play, and Stacey's doing exactly that, along with a number of others as well.
Cannot deny class, Peter, at all. And there is the half-time score, 16-0. Some quiet Australian fans in the stands at Elland Road and Leeds, and why wouldn't there be? But it's all getting set for a stunning second 40. We know what the Australians are capable. What would they have been capable of with Darren Lockyer, who broke his foot in training, and also Andrew Johns, and there is the International Coach of the Year, Wayne Bennett. The Kiwis on their way back out. They could be changing the world order of rugby league for a short time with a win in the Tri-Nations final. Will they get it? You will see it live on Sky.
Their best to roar New Zealand on to victory. Mark O'Mealy and his fellow forwards with a big job to do in this second half. I think it goes without saying, Steve-O, Australia, they've got to start well now.
Without a doubt, and their forwards have got to get up the tempo. Kiwis, of course, they'll be playing very basic rugby league football, and that's what they did most throughout that first half. We keep mentioning the kicking game from Stacey Jones, and that's all they have to do. And they'll be forcing the error yet again. Australia coughed up so much possession in that first half. It was ridiculous.
This is Stephen Price for Australia. Second tackle, opening set of 6 of this second half. And Willie Mason will drive the ball forward. Try-scoring substitute in last year's Tri-Nations final. This, meanwhile, is Craig Wing. And he has, of course, answered the call from his holiday in Hawaii to play in this tournament once Darren Lockyer was injured. The kick, though, is not the best. It's straight down the throat of Brent Webb, and here come New Zealand again. Ben Kennedy leading the charge. Mason finishing him off. And the winger, Jake Webster. Test debut against Australia in Sydney. 6 tries in 6 tests for him so far. Not on the score sheet tonight.
Well, I think Blind McLean can have 10 out of 10 for the first half, Eddie, but it'll be interesting this half to see how he uses Solomon and Lautiti as well to keep the momentum going.
Well, they are keeping the momentum going. Everything, as I say, all their offloads, all the balls that go to ground, all the balls that bounce in front of players, it finds its way into New Zealand arms. And here is Stacey Jones again, and there's the script. It's a well-read script, this. It's a well-worn script. And this time they hang off, and the ball is knocked forward by the New Zealand winger Webster. It's very basic, but it's very effective so far.
With a 16-0 lead, that's all you need to do. If they can starve Australia of field position, it'll be the clock that'll be against the green and golds.
This is Craig Wing and Willie Mason.
Great defence, isn't it? We spoke about the team spirit that this young coach Brian McLennan has brought to the black and whites, and they really are working hard for each other. The one thing that Wayne Bennett, he doesn't panic. That's the one thing about the Australian coach, and I think he would have said to them that we have got to get back into some sort of pattern.
Craig Gow's gone for a 40-20 here, but Brent Webb gets it, just palms it back a little bit towards his own line, sets off on the run, almost gets away from Fitzgibbon, can't get away from Gower though. And this is Clinton Tupy. Will come down this left-hand channel again. Stopped by Brent Tate. And this is Anderson.
I think they'll play this one out football, New Zealand, every time they're in their own half.
Kidwell.
It's only when they get anywhere a sniff of the Australian line will they become a little bit more confident. Try something different.
That's a penalty to Australia this time.
Space, I've told you about it. You're going forward off the mark.
And moving off the mark is the referee Steve Ganson's version of events here.
Travelling off the mark.
Well, I think he's been hard done by that.
He's moving off the mark, mate.
For what we've seen in that first half go on in and around the ruck area. Not that the Aussies will be complaining.
Well, the third penalty they've received from Mr. Ganson, and the first time that they have had such proximity to the New Zealand line in this second half.
Well, this is the area where you normally see Minicello.
Ball lost. And Stacey Jones gets it to Shontaine Harpy, and this is David Kidwell. Well, they look completely out of sorts, Australia. I know New Zealand are playing so well, but they look completely out of sorts. But was that dragged back by Rahihi?
Well, it certainly looked that way.
Well, it was a smart play. It was one-on-one, and I think he just played at the arm, and that forced the header. So Stacey Jones certainly didn't ask any questions, did he?
No, didn't wait for any inquest, did he? As Asatazi drives it forward again for New Zealand. Inside Australian territory now with
and again the first and second markers in the Australian side very poor, hesitant.
And Rahihi hasn't heard the call. That's going to be the turnover. They haven't heard the call there.
Oh, he's mad with himself as well, but not as mad as Stacey Jones will be. He was getting himself in a position. This is the incident where they coughed up the ball yet again, Australia.
Definitely one-on-one, but I just wonder whether the ball from Rahihi went forward.
Second hold.
Anyway, it's all academic now. Here are Australia with Gower. He finds Fitzgibbon.
We haven't seen much spark from the two halves either, and that indicates that the forwards aren't doing their shift work. They've got to get in. That's better.
Willie Mason driving Australia forward on tackle number 4. Craig Wingwaite's dummy half. They're 25 metres away from the line. Barrett with a little dab over the top looking for Gower. Oh, the ball has bounced off and can't get it out. Offside. Offside against... Oh, the referee is actually asking the video referee to check whether it was a try.
Well, it's a knock-on to start with.
Knock-on, and then Louis Anderson, I think, picked the ball up in an offside position. But has Trent Barrett scored is what the referee is asking here.
It's a neat little chip over, isn't it? Gower was there, picks it up well. I think it's short. Yeah, short. The ball's gone on. Let's play on. There'll be no try. It'll be interesting to see how they restart this game.
Maybe it's a knock-on against Barrett.
He did well, very well, but he's short of the line. Now, was it deliberately knocked down by Webb? That's the interesting thing here.
Well, for me, Steve, they'll start it with New Zealand head and feet. Barrett's knocked the ball forward, trying to score a try. Webb, as rightly, is defending his own line, hasn't played at the ball. I think he's knocked it on. You see, look at Webb where he's looking. All he's doing is defend his own line. That's a knock-on by Barrett.
I have to agree with you, John. This will be head and feed to the Kiwis.
Scrum defence, and New Zealand are the defence.
And another chance has gone begging. Not that Australia have had many throughout this game.
They've had very few. Louis Anderson did pick the ball up in an offside position, but the knock-on by Trent Barrett nullified all of that.
Hold the push.
So it's a scrum down with head and feed to Stacey Jones of New Zealand. And he gets the ball away to the fullback, Brent Webb. And the referee now gives a penalty for offside to New Zealand. Stacey Jones finds touch over on the far side. It stays at 16-0. Let's go down to the sideline. Chris Warren with news from the Australian dressing room. Chris.
Well, Eddie, I imagine Coach Wayne Bennett would be very disappointed with the way they have started the second half. There was one loud, clear message given to the Kangaroos at half-time, and that was hold the ball. You can't win a game without possession. And they've had two good attacking sets, and they've failed to complete both of them. So, I mean, if you look at the pre-match warm-up, it was like a finely tuned military exercise with precision, great execution, but sadly, as the game kicked off, they'd all abandoned them.
Nigel Vangenaar was looking for a penalty then, not coming. It's with Stacey Jones. And Webb almost through again. Plays the ball on the last. That was Louis Anderson. This is Stacey Jones again. Chip kick down the line. And finds Vatuvai, who tops it inside to Tupi. And the ball wide. And it's a good job that Matt Cooper was there to defuse that kick across the face of play. Let's go down to honorary Kiwi Bill Arthur. He's with the New Zealand dressing room.
And it's a very satisfied Kiwi dressing room, but one that knows there's a lot of work to be done in this second half. And the message from coach Brian McLennan was discipline and completing the sets of 6, which is exactly what they did in the first half, and which has been a hallmark of this Kiwi effort in the Tri-Nations. They have been a lot more disciplined and cut out a lot of the errors that have proved so costly to them previously. Interestingly, David Solomona ready to enter the fray for the first time for New Zealand and could have a big impact.
So good, Craig Wing. He was hunted down, but there is the Wakefield Trinity Wildcat. David Solomona prowling the line, waiting to come in. And the kick over the top is looking for the Speetzers out wide for Australia. Gasnier is there. So to Minicello, and they effect the tackle 5 metres away from the New Zealand line. Stacey Jones scurries in at dummy half.
Much better play by Australia there, brought about by the run from dummy half from Craig Wing. They certainly need something to spark them. Well, this is going to be a battle royal.
Interestingly enough, that Ruben Wiki has returned as well. And the New Zealanders, as I'm reminded, have survived, of course, with a 0 against the Australian name on the scoreboard. They survived without him. There he is. Back to inspire his men to a famous victory, perhaps. And Stacey Jones on the last tackle just hooks the ball downfield. Back come the Kangaroos, but only as far as Shantaine Harpy, and he got a very good tackle in on Matt King. And look at the weight as well from the New Zealanders, forcing him back towards his own line. Here is Minicello.
That's been one of the features, I think, by the New Zealand side. They've worked as a unit, gang tackles, that play on, is involved in the tackle.
He wipes the tackle count clean, does Steve Ganson. That was deemed to be a play at the ball by Fayumu. Willie Mason bumps off one, can't get away from the next man in. They're always there in numbers, and they have the penalty, Australia.
You're offside, mate.
Offside is Mr. Ganson's version.
Really good tactics, hasn't it, by Brian McLennan, the Kiwi coach, just make sure that you know, 2 or 3 get to him, and then make sure he can't play the ball quickly.
Mark O'Mealy. Tupi stands his ground.
Australia need a break.
Wing to Gower. Barrett showed it to Kennedy. Oh, and it's lost again. They've lost again.
Too smart. He was never on. It was a beautiful tackle low down. Kennedy, we know his ability to offload. Just wasn't there. Just couldn't get enough strength.
And here is David Solomona for New Zealand. Well, I tell you what, if Wayne Bennett's instruction to his team was hold on to the football, they have failed to respond to those words in this second half. And now New Zealand have another penalty.
Well, the referee certainly is making this a stop-start affair in this second stanza.
And that will be music to New Zealand's ears.
Of course it will. Just basic.
But look at the error count from Australia, 12.
You can't win a game.
And New Zealand just 3. They're not making any errors. And here they are with Ruben Wiki. Could be a famous night for Ruben Wiki on his 50th Test appearance. And Stacey Jones. And Stacey Jones, great ball. And that is Fatuira. And it's all hands to the pumps now for Australia as Fayumu spreads the ball wide. Kidwell, Vangenaar. Oh, and Vangenaar escapes the net nearly. 3 tackles gone, 3 remaining for New Zealand here as Fayumu finds Stacey Jones. It comes back, and this is Brent Webb, and Webb is in again. Webb is in for New Zealand, and it could be game, set and match. It could so easily here be game, set and match if this is given by the video referee.
And I can't see any reason why it won't be. Excellent stuff. We knew what the tactics would be, that they would just drive in one out and only put something on where they could smell the line.
They're looking for obstruction against Trent Barrett here.
Well, Barrett was certainly battled out of it. No doubt about it. It was Anderson that went for him. Is he deemed to have stopped him an opportunity? I think he might have. The Australians may be very fortunate indeed. Nothing wrong with the grounding.
Well, they're not interested in the grounding, just the obstruction. So here's the decision.
I think there'll be no try.
It's a try to New Zealand. And it's 20 points to 0 to the Kiwis with a kick to come. And Brent Webb has scored his 6th try of his international career. And the Australian supporters and players are stunned.
Well, it's amazing and fully deserved, because it's all basic, isn't it? They have not come up with the errors, the black and white. It appeared to me as though there was interference by Anderson on the standoff, Trent Barrett. The video referee, Dave Campbell, said no. He's been the star of the show, this fellow, the fullback, Brent Webb. But what about this guy? What a character. Jet lag? What jet lag?
Another 2 points to New Zealand. It's 22 points to 0 now. And Ian, if Australia are to come back from this, it will be one of the all-time great comebacks.
Well, we hear every sport, we hear cliches, it's a game of 2 halves, we committed too many errors, we didn't hold the ball, you go for them all. Australia have committed them all. They can't hold the ball at the moment, they can't build pressure. All they need at the moment is some back-to-back sets to apply some pressure and some momentum and rhythm, and they can't achieve it.
The trouble is, though, Ian, is that the New Zealand pack are just taking the Australian 6 apart.
Well, they're giving them a lesson on how to take the ball forward, to build a platform for a kicking game, and before you shift the ball. They've got some great go forward. They've got a little bit more subtlety around the rucks area with some options. At the moment, unfortunately, they're very much one out, Australia, and what they are, they're very keen to shift the ball to get out of problem. At the moment, the forwards, as you say, Steve, are completely dominated.
And things getting worse for Australia. We're hearing news of injuries in the Australian camp, Chris.
Yeah, that's right, Eddie. Brent Tate's limped off the field. He's carrying what looks to be a knee or right ankle injury. I don't think we're going to see him return, so they are reduced to 16 players with just one back or utility on the bench. Could present some problems.
New Zealand in possession with Stacey Jones, and the kick is a good one because it finds its way. Oh, and he was nearly over there, Anthony Minichiello. That was quick thinking by him. He knew he was in a little bit of space and he just flicked the ball back.
That could change the game. Just little things like that, and he's got the offload as well. That could just spin it around. Remember, in the first half, it was the interception by Anderson that turned it for the Kiwis, and that could be just what the doctor ordered. They need something. I don't know what medicine that Wayne Bennett can mete out to his players, but they've got to start swallowing it soon. Great stuff.
Minichiello, well, he's living up to his tag as the best in the world in a team that's very much on the back foot at the moment. This is Stephen Price. Missed Great Britain last week up against several of his New Zealand Warriors colleagues, of course. Here tonight, this is Luke O'Donnell.
And even when they're in possession, the Australian forwards, they don't appear to have any venom.
Gower will hoist the ball high. Trying to do what his opposite number has done. That's not forward, though. I think the referee has given a penalty here to Australia for a tackle on an airborne player.
You took him when he's in the air.
Well, that's what the signal has done, and he's got it absolutely right. Well, a good work by Minichiello, and then the penalty to the tap.
This is Jason Riles for Australia, and you get the feeling that they must score here, Australia, to have any chance at all. Gower gets the ball away. This is Fitzgibbon.
Second.
And Shantaine Harpy was the tackler, helped out by Banganar. Again, they look at Mr. Ganson. Mealy goes without the ball. It is not
Simple.
Australia's night.
No advantage to the Kiwis, so the official Ganson will put the scrum down.
How clever there as well by the Kiwi. You see the header there from O'Mealy. There's no real play there to take advantage. He's saying, we'll have the scrum. That's another 30 seconds to a minute gone as well. So everything going New Zealand's way at the minute. Look at that error count, 13-3.
But that was a sally.
Oh, certainly was.
You've got to take that.
How many times, Steve, one off the ruck have the Australians dropped it tonight? It's like a different team to what we watched last week.
Yep.
It would be. From a British point of view, it would be. But it's 20 years, by the way, since Australia, and we're starting to look now at these sort of records, 20 years since Australia were last nilled in a test match. 1985. And it was against New Zealand, 18-0 in Auckland. Louis Anderson, another good run, doing what the Australian forwards have not been able to do so far tonight. Here is Assotazi.
I must say, it will be a tremendous boost if the Kiwis can hang on, lift the trophy. Fantastic for rugby league in their country.
Ruben Wiki, yes, fabulous. All Blacks, of course, dominating the other code, New Zealand.
And they've just had it on the sideline. They've got Ali Lautiti to introduce it to the game. Very, very fresh indeed.
Oh, Stacey Jones. Well, it was a bit hospital pass. He was committed. Bit of a slap of the hand. Either way, it was a high shot. Didn't clench it, but boy, that a big red cross on it, didn't it, on the inside pass, Stacey Jones.
And Brian McLennan says, let's take 2 points, because we enter the last quarter 24-0 up. That is an almost insurmountable lead.
And the clock is ticking away.
Indeedy.
Well, New Zealand can't look at the clock, what they've got to look at, what they've got to do to win. And I think the viewers have probably heard us talk 100 times about Stacey Jones' kicking game. What he probably needs to do is change it now and run the ball into touch to slow the game down, because at the moment the Australians want to try and get the tempo up and the Kiwis want to slow it. So you'll find Stacey Jones now will get that brain ticking, one of the best in the game, run the ball in the touch, walk, take their time and start admiring, because don't forget in the Tri Series last year, Steve-O did not win a game.
Yep. And fair credit to their coach, Brian McLennan. He really has brought them together. They're a very, very strong unit, close-knit.
Coming into this match, Australia finishing top of the table with 3 wins, New Zealand second with 2. 19 tries scored by the Aussies, 21 tries scored by New Zealand prior to tonight. Top scorers in the competition, and top scorers on the night, Stacey Jones makes it 24-0. History beckons the Kiwis. Darren Lockyer, I wonder what he'll be thinking now, going back to last year. What will he be thinking? Brian McLennan. And they don't look that bothered. And they are getting probably their messages back home to the folks down under. 24-0. New Zealand lead. Lauatiti is on. Man Mountain for the Leeds Rhinos, of course. He's taken a bit of stick, apparently, amongst Kiwi commentators for his performances in the Tri-Nations. This fella's been majestic. Ruben Wiki.
He's led by example. It's rather sad, 24-0 as you look at it. Perhaps a lot of people will say, especially the media, that, you know, Australia just didn't play up to scratch. You can't say that tonight, because the amount of pressure, okay, there's been a couple of easy ones taken down, but the way that the New Zealand side has got into the Australians' faces, and the Aussies don't like it.
Well, you're right. They have been right in their faces from the first minute. New Zealand fully deserve this 24-0 scoreline they've got alongside them, but gentlemen, Australia are dreadful tonight. Let's be fair.
Yeah, but all the little things, Eddie, you need to build up a platform in attack and defence. New Zealand have carried them out to the letter. Australia haven't. They've been very, very naive and everything. I've just got to put a point there on Ruben Wiki. I spoke with him the other day and I said to him, enjoying it? And he said, oh, loving it. And I said, is this your last tour? He said, gee, I hope I get picked next year for the Tri-Series. So it just goes to show they're heroes to people in rugby league, but at the end of the day, they just love playing the game.
They do. And he's played 50 times for his country now. Here's Sivanasiva for Australia, getting them to halfway, but it's on tackle number 4.
And it also just indicates to you the importance of, you know, the players playing with the pride and playing for the country.
Chance wide here for the winger, but no, great defence again. And there was nowhere for Matt King to go then other than over the touchline, because the New Zealanders slid across and saw to that, and it was Jake Webster.
Great stuff.
Form up, boys. Danny.
It really has been a pleasure to watch.
Give a big gas, mate. You need gun sorted.
They'll be thinking that way down in Australia, but I'm sure that in New Zealand they are just cock-a-hoop with the way that they have played.
I think that's been the big thing about New Zealand, Steve, is the fact that if somebody has made an error, which you're bound to do over 80 minutes of rugby league, what his mates have done is covered for him. And they've all worked and worked and worked so hard for each other. You can feel the camaraderie, the spirit within the squad, and it looks as if it's going to carry them through.
It does at this stage. Our colleagues Sky TV in New Zealand did consider at one stage, Steve-O, sending over their own commentary team for this Tri-Nations final. They decided against it, and they're taking us instead. Trust you're enjoying our commentary and enjoying what you're seeing here. Not necessarily the fact that there's a man having his head bandaged, but the fact that there are so many glum Australian faces at the moment.
Never had a look in. They've been battered and bruised. The Mexican wave is underway.
Well, last year the British fans were doing it because they had nothing else to do, because we were getting hammered. And tonight all the neutrals are involved, but I don't think Wayne Bennett will be standing up off his chair.
Well, I think they might just call it a moving haka.
Okay. Time back on.
So these players talk a lot about this carver they drink. Steve, have you ever tasted and what's in it? Because Rafika Palestina is supposed to be training with Wigan on 7:30 on Monday morning. He's going to wonder if he's in a fit state.
They will party long into the night if they win this. There's no question of that. Even though Palestina is not involved in the match itself, you can bet your life he'll be involved in the party.
Well, I have tried that carver, and I don't recommend it.
Take it off him. Take it off him.
Nigel Vangenaar is hurt, and the referee wants the ball taken off him. And they say they can't get it off him because
his ankle. All right, mate.
He's hanging on for dear life. He knows that there's a few seconds. Okay, this clock has been stopped, but they will be enjoying this. The Kiwis. Not even the great Australian sides
Nigel, can you play the ball in a minute
yesteryear can pull this back. That I have no doubt. Just went down awkward.
He did. His ankle got stuck underneath Petro Sivanasiva.
Yeah, and then he got rolled over it again. Got the double dose.
No problems in the tackle, Dave. What, mate?
So the referee just giving them time to get Mr. Vangenaar back on his feet, but I don't think
the most important thing,
well.
One of the most important things about this game
I think that's him finished. That's him finished for this game. It was.
Yeah, it went over very badly. But I just like the way that the New Zealanders have been able to just disrupt anything that the Australians have done.
Oh.
They've never been able to get any momentum. You often talk about getting the roll on and how it's hard to stop. The Aussies haven't even started.
No, they've been tremendous of the New Zealanders, and all credit to them. But it's a sad sight to see that Nigel Vangenaar there is his Tri-Nations final. It's finishing with that, but he won't run the stretch, will he?
No, he's going to be taken off the field by the training staff. And we see Vangenaar leave the field. Thoughts to Paul Deacon, of course, of the Bradford Bulls in Great Britain, who has dealt with the injury he received in the match against the Kiwis a few weeks ago in exemplary fashion. It took all the heat out of the situation with Nigel Vangenaar, issued a statement. And let's hope that Paul Deacon is back in Bradford's colours for the World Club Challenge against the West Tigers, which will start the season off. Well, Solomona with the offload, and it's gobbled up by Petro Sivanasiva.
I can't believe that he wanted to do that. McLennan will get the message out straight away.
Oh, what a wiki on Craig Gower.
But the New Zealand coach got to get in and say, listen, fellas, this is not the time to start being fancy. This is the time to just slow it down, play the basics that we've got there. And what a rise to prominence by that fella. Had you ever heard of Brian McLennan? I hadn't.
Heard of Mike McLennan, of course. The man who gave us the great phrase, retention of the football is paramount. And they have held on to the football, haven't they, New Zealand?
Well, I'm going to say, if the Australians had heard him, they'd have done well to take some notice.
This is Trent Barrett for Australia. I think they are looking, actually, to just get a little bit of respectability back into the situation here. Luke O'Donnell, and the kick was from Riles. It's fielded by Webster, and there was no real chase for the kick from the prop forward.
Well, it's sheer panic. There's been no cohesion.
Shontaine Hartley, he's maybe playing himself into a new position with the balls at loose forward.
He's worked hard.
It's been interesting though how Coach McLennan has used Harper, because he switched with Patueiras. At times Patueiras dipped into the middle and Harper's going into the centre, and it's a tactic that's worked very, very well indeed.
No wonder they didn't want to announce their side until just an hour before the kick-off. This is Solomona again.
And you could see on that occasion there was never going to be any chance that he was looking to offload.
This is Motutoni.
He's played really well. I thought that might be a weak link, you know, in the New Zealand side, having to push him in, not having a regular hooker, but he really has come of age. It's been a wonderful performance from him.
Another great kick from Stacey Jones, making Gasnier field the ball right down by his own try line, and here is Matt King, and there is just no way through this defence.
And it's been good defence as well with the Kiwis, is that they haven't been eager to get the man with the ball to the ground. They've kept him up, and 3 and 4 people have kept him moving.
Cooper is picked up and dumped centre field. Gow wide to Craig Wing. Wing gets Australia over halfway, but can get them no further. Tackle number 4. Gower, the dummy half. Trent Barrett. And this is Stephen Price.
Oh, it's another mistake. Oh, they leave that up. Said thank you very much indeed.
0. Steve Price. Okay, mate.
And it's at the stage where I think everybody in this stadium and all the people at home that are connected to the green and golds, I think they're going to say, that's it. And I have to agree with them, because New Zealand will just trundle it up, give it back to that man with a 7 on his back, Stacey Jones, and just irritate them.
David Fayumu, and Shontaine Harpy drives it forward again. Fayumu once more, they're 20 metres away. There is Stacey Jones, it goes wide to David Solomona. Solomona this time doesn't think of the offload. There's the ball here to Fatuira.
5 on the line.
And they are so close to the line again. Solomona, back he comes to Stacey Jones, and a drop goal from Stacey Jones.
No.
Miss.
20.
And it's the right thing to do as well. Just drive another nail in. Trouble is, it didn't get into the wood correctly.
No progress forward though by Australia.
Go.
The way they played last week against Great Britain, the way they cut Great Britain to pieces from deep. Men like Gasnier, who just played the ball there. Stephen Price wasn't available, of course, or didn't play last week. That's an offside decision against New Zealand. And Bill has got some news from the New Zealand camp. Bill?
We saw Nigel Vangana going off, and it is an ankle injury. Right ankle is the problem. He's going to need an X-ray, and it could be an uncomfortable journey home tomorrow evening for the Kiwi. But if they come through this and take the trophy, it'll be a lot more pleasant.
Just 15 men for Australia to see this match out. Here they come though, and off the shoulder of Jason Riles. Another knock on.
I can't believe that the Australians have persisted with this flat attack continually and just coughing the ball up.
New Zealand
if it's not working, and I am surprised that Wayne Bennett has not changed some form of tactic.
Shortcut, lads. Shortcut touches.
Completely outclassed. I never thought I would see the day when I could say that about an Australian outfit that has been just not at the races. They've been battered, they've been bruised, they've been out-thought, and they've been out-coached.
Well, I've got to say also there, Steve-O, is they've been so consistent in their defence, New Zealand. I've never seen a New Zealand international team be so consistent. And it always comes from your desire on a kick chase in your first 3 rucks. They've been honest, they've been together, and they've been very aggressive. And I've never seen Australian team. If you look at average metres, probably for Australia, their first 3 or 4 rucks, it's very poor. And that's where they've dominated the game.
This is Ali Lauatiti.
Again, just basic rugby league football. It may not be pretty, but who cares if you're a Kiwi?
And the British crowd's asking the Australians, who are you? And he gets a penalty, Solomona. There's been a lot of that. I mean, Matt Cooper having a right go there, Mr. Ganson. There's been a lot of that tonight. Every decision that's gone against them, they've contested.
I know, and that's frustration.
Well, that's symptomatic of the night they're having.
Yeah, of course it is.
But it started a lot earlier than 24-0.
You can't take it away from them. If the guy was, you can see there, he was lifting the leg up as he was regaining to the ground. The official has got no option.
This is Ruben Wiki. Here is Lauatiti. Lauatiti offloads again. And Shuntain Harpy feeding off him.
They've not finished the Kiwis. As I say, it's plodding when they're in their own half.
Motu Tony! And he's just forced back over the whitewash this way. Fayumu has scampered in at dummy half. He'll bullet the pass to Jones, who'll find Webb, the fullback. And here is Fatuira. And the ball went forward. The ball went forward. Jake Webster's try is rubbed out.
Good hands, though. Very good hands. Ooh, well, I'm not so sure. Maybe on that angle, but...
Well, that's why the TV cameras cannot be judged on a forward pass.
What about the momentum rule, though, Eddie?
Watch his hands. That's the secret. His hands are going backwards.
I think that should have been allowed.
I agree with you. I think that was a great piece of skill and a great finish. And it'd been a fitting way to round off this Tri-Nation finals. Just watch his hands. That's the secret between whether a pass is forward or not. And his hands went in a backward direction. That should have been allowed.
Webster had overrun it as well, which didn't help Mr. Ganson. He did have to reach back, but he had overrun the pass. Anyway, it's no try. It's 24-0, and we've got 10 minutes or so remaining.
Hold!
An historic night for New Zealand Rugby League. They would have watched their cousins, the All Blacks, sweep through this country, and they will want the headlines themselves in the morning.
And they deserve them as well. But there, the tackle before was an example of what I've been trying to say, in as much that they just keep the ball carrier, they hold him up, second man comes in, third man comes in, they've just battered them.
Any respectability for Australia. That ball went backwards, it was actually touched, I think, by a New Zealander, and the referee agrees. This is O'Mealy, it's back to 0 in the tackle count. It's tackle number 1. Badiris. An Australian captain who's going to go home beaten in a major final. Haven't had one of those for years and years and years. What a pity it's not the red, white and blue of Great Britain from a purely xenophobic point of view. Here is Gasnier. Gasnier is spun to the ground by the tackle from Lauatiti. Craig Wing, good on his feet. Gets the ball away to O'Donnell. Manu Vatavai with the tackle. And play on. Badiris tried to get the ball through his legs. He did, but it hit the New Zealander. And Vatavai got the possession back for his country.
Well, 2 tries by the wing of Vatavai, but it does get to a lot of work in defence. Say things certainly not coming off the right in. He's been on the wall for quite some time.
And here comes the half break. In fact, it's more than a half break, and it's Asatazi, and he skipped through another challenge, and he's still not finished, and that's good play from Badiris. Came over the top and dislodged the ball. O'Mealy gets it out wide, but it was dangerous. Fatuira all over the top of Matt Cooper.
Here they come. Swarm all over them again. They must have worked really, really hard on their defensive line. I know that Brian McLennan, their coach, was bitterly disappointed with their performance against Great Britain.
Here's Matt Cooper, brilliantly kept alive by Willie Mason.
Third! Hold Ruben!
Well, they have been in this country as rank underdogs, the New Zealanders. The accommodation wasn't even booked for them for this final, and they've used that to their advantage.
They
really have.
But there's another, you know, the flat pass, not the best from Gower. Barrett had to hang back for it.
Okay, mate, just
well,
keep
we've never
talking.
seen this, Steve-O. In all the years that we have been involved with international rugby league, we have never seen a performance like this from Australia. Credit to New Zealand, they have forced the errors.
To be fair, I've never seen a better performance by the New Zealand side either.
Okay.
They have been wonderful.
Here we go.
And
There was about 15 minutes in that first half, midway through the first half, when it looked as though New Zealand was shaky. Australia were getting over the advantage line. It looks as though they're going to get it, but then that intercept from Anderson turned it all around, and they've just controlled the game ever since.
Well, their consistency's been outstanding. I know the Sky cameras have picked up Darren Lockyer a few times, but if you look at people who are some of the best players in the game, Sonny Bill-Williams, Benji Marshall and Leslie Vonacolo, they're not out here today. I think Brian McClellan, if you keep going back, I think Eddie, an hour and a half before kick-up, I said, what's the team? He said, oh, they got a surprise, they reckon. Shantine Harpy, we wouldn't have picked him there, would we? He's been an absolute marvel there. And Vatawara on Cooper has been outstanding. He's done a very good job here tonight, Brian McClellan.
This is Ali Lauatiti. The ball is fed wide to Manu Batabai. Here he goes again. The offload back to Clinton Tupi. And they're just hanging off, aren't they? Australia, they're not. And they haven't closed them down in the tackle from the very first whistle. Motu Tony and Ashatazi. And here is Lauatiti. And Lauatiti offloads to Tony. And Tony slides the kick through, and Trent Barrett diffuses the danger for Australia.
Surrender!
Allows that for confidence, just keeping the ball alive, spinning around. You can see that most of the Australians were just hanging around, waiting to see what's going to happen.
Second, hold, go.
Well, there'll be some battered bodies on this Australian team after this game. It's been a wonderful effort defensively, hasn't it, by the Kiwis?
Great ball from Gower to Kennedy, and the offload. This time it sticks to Minicello, and Minicello over the top to Matt Cooper. And Cooper is pulled down by Jake Webster. They don't want to concede a try, do they? Here's Gower. And again they force him out. And they hold him up short of the line. That's the last tackle. Danny Badiris waits at dummy half. Gives it to Kennedy. And Kennedy goes without it. And that is typical of Australia's night. Yet another error.
I can't believe what I'm seeing, because remember at Wigan, when they took on Great Britain, within 3 of the last minutes of that game, in atrocious weather, they were flipping the ball back, running the angle, scored sensational 2 tries, and here, perfect conditions, no excuses.
19 errors.
2005 will go down the year that England has not been a good country for Australian sport. We look at the cricket, we look at Costa Zoo in boxing, now we look at rugby league. Not a good year, and it gives everyone hope next year for the Tri-Series, especially those England players sitting back in their living room saying, I want to be on that boat.
I think as well that last passage of play summed up the game perfectly. The New Zealand spirit to scramble back in defence, and then the pressure they exerted on the Australians to come up with the error.
Brian McClellan is celebrating because we're 4 minutes away. Not even Australia can score 4, 5, 6 tries. Not with defence like that. They're in touch again. That's been the story of the night.
Yep. Keep the man up in possession. Keep him up off the ground. Swarming defence. And congratulations to that fella, and all concerned.
Well, they came here 12 months ago and they never won a match. And Wayne Bennett will be the first to congratulate Brian McClellan, because he says, and he has said philosophically a number of times in the recent past, look, we cannot win them all. It'll have to happen sometime, and it's happened tonight. It's over 50 years since New Zealand beat Australia in a test series. And they're going to go home with a glittering silver trophy as well. The Tri-Nations prize is going to New Zealand with the Kiwis. And they're still not finished. This is the fullback, Brent Webb.
He's been the man of the series for me. Oh. Brent Webb has been absolutely superb. And look at the enthusiasm. It is wonderful. The Matt Butcher there, Peter Leach coming to interview And I do know that they were absolutely furious about the fact that they didn't get hotel accommodation because they thought it was going to be a Great Britain-Australian final. Boy, when they lift that trophy in a few moments' time, it will taste very sweet indeed.
Minicello somehow picked up the pieces then.
Hold here. Hold. Not out.
They nearly dropped the ball again then on the first tackle. This is Gower. And this is Willie Mason.
Second on the line.
Australia looking to make sure they are not nilled in an international for the first time in 20 years. Barrett, Gaznia, escapes one net, escapes two nets. No, he doesn't. Off it goes to Kennedy. Kennedy offloads to O'Donnell. O'Donnell over the top. Here is Craig Wing. Great defence again. And David Kidwell should be a penalty, that, and it is.
It's got to be. Madeira's to take the quick tap, but away. They've got it out wide.
And this is Gower. This is Craig Gower.
And it's dropped it.
The ball has gone forward, and it's no try. Wayne Bennett, a resigned little shrug of the shoulders there, I think.
Well, that was knocked out.
It was also, it went backwards.
I think it was knocked out anyway. Doesn't make any difference.
One apiece, isn't it, here with the New Zealand disallowed one?
Okay.
Brian McLennan. He's come out of nowhere. He coached in the lower grades in New Zealand. Nobody had heard of him. Boy, they've heard of him now.
His head in, please. Get up. Okay, and we go.
Well, I do hope that when they fly back, they will receive a hero's welcome, because this has been nothing short of superb.
We're entering the last minute, and New Zealand are ahead by 24 points to 0. What will this do for the international game?
It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. And it just shows that the ability, and of course the junior development coming through in New Zealand, is starting to bear reward, and I think it's just sensational for it.
But for men like Ruben Wiki and Stacey Jones, legends of the game in New Zealand, it is a fantastic, well, I was going to say end to their international career. Stacey Jones has made more comebacks than Frank Sinatra.
Oh, I think this will be it now.
And, but Ruben Wiki has said, as Ian Millwood said, he wants to be involved in next year's Tri-Nations. So maybe he's not done yet. But it's a great way to celebrate your 50th Test cap, world record, and you're going to be top of the world tonight, New Zealand. This is Barrett over the top to Gower. Play on indeed. And they're counting down, and Brian McLennan is dancing all over Ellen Road. And New Zealand have won the Tri-Nations of 2004. And it's no fluke. It is an absolute hammering for the Australians here. They started with the win in Sydney for the first time in 46 years. And they have finished with a win here in the final that is richly, richly deserved. And Wayne Bennett and company go home beaten in a series for the first time since 1972 in the World Cup. It's been a long, long time since Australia have been outplayed at this level, but outplayed they have been.
They certainly have, and fully deserved this victory. We often talk about team spirit, but what was on display tonight was amazing. The way they swarmed all over the green and gold jumpers, absolutely superb.
Bill Arthur is now with the legend himself, Stacey Jones.
Stacey, worth coming all the way for, eh?
Bloody yeah. Fantastic. Mate, I don't even know what day it was. It's that's what it was like. So
look at that scoreboard. It's got 0 on it next to Australia.
Great effort. You know, the boys were fantastic. Defence was huge. I think all week, you know, talking to the boys, they were up for it. So, mate, worth coming back for, that's for sure.
It was a complete performance, wasn't it? You didn't really let up.
No, you know, I think, you know, we just got over there with the big guys. Our defence was good. It was fantastic. Keeping to 0, awesome.
You're going to sleep well tonight.
Oh, well, can I just say hello to everyone back home, Rochelle and the girls, and Monty's son. Cheers.
Well done, Stacey. Well done, Brian McLennan. You said in the week you were worried you'd maybe dipped a little bit in form. I think you got it right at the right time.
Oh, without sounding like a big head, we were pretty confident during the week. People wrote us off, said we were terrible against Great Britain. They beat us 6 tries to 3. We won the second half. Mate, we were always a good chance. We believed in ourselves, but we just played the underdog a bit.
It was a textbook performance, wasn't it? You didn't really put a foot wrong tonight.
Boys were very strong. We concentrated on our go forward. We did a couple of changes, a bit more speed around the ruck. They went with the 4 props. We went with 3 and went for quicks, and it paid off.
Well done tonight, Brian.
Yeah, thank you very much. And to all you Kiwi supporters, yeah!
Well, what a way to celebrate 50th cap. And that's exactly what Ruben Wiki has done. Ruben, 50 caps. That's not a bad way to celebrate your 50th, is it? What do you think the key was tonight?
Oh, we just did it for each other. And the black jersey. He hits the sport. It was good.
50 caps. This must be the sweetest of them.
So, mate, it was like every moment of it. This is the best feeling ever, you know. And everyone doubted us, but we did the job, and for our families back home and stuff, it was good.
What do you think this will mean to New Zealand Rugby League? I mean, I know the dust hasn't settled yet, but this is a momentous result, isn't it?
Oh, it is, mate. You know, it's Australia's always been dominant, and we believe in each other. And with our coach, he set a structure that we all tied in with, and we believed in, and we did it. And history's sweet, mate.
Well done tonight. Well done on 50 caps.
Thank you very much.
Fantastic effort from Ruben Wiki, and it's going to New Zealand. The Gillette Tri-Nations Trophy. The Australians are absolutely